My greatest fear? Well, for people who know the 6 feet, 195 pounds of composition of awesomeness that I am, should know that it's one of two things: spiders and heights, which would make me a really horrible stand-in for Peter Parker should that occasion ever arise. Some people may say my biggest fear is whatever social awkwardness may arise whenever I enter a conversation, but quite frankly, I'm used to it. Middle school quite helped me get used to that. No.
My fear lies in a simple question. What if I am wrong? Whether or not it was right to go down this path to begin with. To know the things that I know, to perceive things in a different light. I say this because a lot of the stuff I will review and talk about could literally be considered sacrilegious to others.
Which, just forewarning, I do not intend on anything that I say to be considered as offensive, blasphemous, or any way negative towards any ideology, religion, culture, or way of life. I'm just trying to give you my analysis and my interpretation of things that we do not fully understand.
So, does me being Christian conflict with me being empathic? It's almost terrifying as to what repercussions this way of life can bring, simply because how much of this subject is still unknown.
But why? Why are such practices condemned and otherwise frowned upon by a major religious institution? Why would the practices of mysticism, channeling, trying to talk to spirits, fortune telling, spiritualism, why is that forbidden? I mean, what harm could that possibly ever... Oh. But joking aside, there are some very dire consequences for following this path. But add to that, we also have a very legitimate reason as to why this is expected of us.
These practices, these ideas, these beliefs are
based on the simple premise or the simple hubris of our own understanding of the world around us, that we are able to call upon our loved ones, even if they are no longer living, that we can call them up as easily as it is for us to call someone on a landline or a cell phone.
This, however, is a big problem. This passage, it perfectly sums up one of the themes for my upcoming story, Binary. Summing up the fear almost perfectly. The idea is that in every religion that there is a God and there is a devil. The conflict that arises is when we don't know the difference. In our search for answers pertaining to the destiny and fate of those we love dearly, we look for solace wherever we can get it. Sometimes we take the first answer, or even any answer, as a sign from someone we love. We can blindly accept it without a second's hesitation.
In order for this to make sense, you must acknowledge, you must remember that spirits are still capable of showing the same thought process that they did in the real world. Spirits are also sentient. They are aware. They can adjust. They can adapt. They can show emotion. Whether this is to help us, harm us, to guide us, or even deceive us.
Something that can masquerade under the guise of someone you love. A perfect analogy to this,
a perfect comparison to this whole process is that of a computer virus. You search for something, you find a way to achieve it, you think you have it, but you don't. You've been fooled, you've been tricked.
These negative spirits, these negative entities, act much like this. Just like a computer virus, and in your rush for answers or peace of mind, you have opened yourself up to something whose sole purpose is to bring pain and suffering to you and others.
So congratulations. In your rush, in your angst, in your mad dash for the answers, the easy way, the convenient way, you've opened the floodgates. And you've allowed something into this world. Something whose sole purpose is to destroy. Something that can't be reasoned with, something that can't be bartered with, something pure evil. But I digress.
However, throughout history, people have sought the advice and counsel of psychics and mediums through times of grief and oftentimes war. People just want that reassurance that in the wake of a disaster, all will be good in the end. Then there are those who feel lost and need that guidance with no one to turn to. There are documented cases of two people in particular who sought such guidance on a regular basis. Two people that changed the very course of history as we know it, and given the challenges as well as hardships they faced in life, one could understand such a need. Their names were Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln. And, as legend has it, it was in one of these seances, these spiritual sessions, if you will, that the future president was contacted by one of his sons and was explained the atrocities of slavery. And he was the only one who could end this practice, who could end this whole system. Now, after his death, it's widely believed that Abraham Lincoln's ghost still haunts the White House grounds to this day. Why this is remains unknown, but I will continue the topics of ghosts as well as provide a more in-depth look at demons and the overall paranormal aspects in another video. So to answer that question, I have no earthly idea. In the end, I can't say yes or no because this is only how I perceive things. This is how I understand things. This is my fear. I can't tell what way of life in this world is truly dangerous because I do not want to go down a path that could put my life and the life of those around me in jeopardy. There are certainly people more qualified, better equipped than me to answer this question, and there are definitely people who I feel are dumb enough to blindly go down this path without any regard to the potential outcome or ramifications to such a choice. I can only speak for myself. And the only time I can speak about something is when I know enough about it to give a clear, concise outlook on it. I could say, figure this stuff out for yourself. Or pay someone to clarify something, or just find someone who will agree with what you say or tell you what you want to hear. I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in the Holy Ghost, I believe Jesus died for my sins and he is the Son of God. That is what I honestly and truly believe, right here in my heart. I believe God gave me this trait of being empathic to help those who need it, to help give people the will, the strength, the clarity, the hope to not give up, to keep going, and to let them know that there is someone here who wants to help them. Not because I have to, but because I want to. So, I guess it all depends. If you feel that there is someone you can trust, then seek their advice. If they claim to be psychic, then power to them. I know a few people with this trait, this trait or power or ability of this type. Having it, I feel, isn't a sin or a crime by any means, biblical or real. If that is sacrilege, that is my fear. That being able to do what I do, regardless of how I use it, is blasphemy. For the most part, I feel this isn't the case. I've tried summoning. I've tried it. Whether or not I got what I needed out of it, I probably will never know. I guess it all depends on one thing. It depends on how you use this trait. Is how others use this trait. When paid a nice chunk of change, people will say what you want to hear. And there are people who will exploit this, who will exploit this whole field and the desires and the confusion and the sorrow of others. They will rob you blind. In the end, I feel that is blasphemy. Not only are you trying to contact someone on the other side, someone who you have no business in contacting, but you're doing it under a lie. That is blasphemy. To contact those who do not need to be contacted, to channel those who are already at peace, to claim you can talk to the dead, but under the false guise of a medium or psychic, that is even worse than blasphemy. Not only are you lying, but you're lying about being able to commit a sin against God himself. So not only does that make you a liar, it just makes you a really shitty person who claim to summon spirits. If they can, should never do it for monetary gain. Even then, I would advise never to do so. You are taking a shot in the dark, trying to contact someone, anyone, not on this physical plane of existence, and you may not like what you call. It's like trying to dial a phone number for someone, but you don't remember their number. Like, you know quite a bit of it, but you don't remember the entire number. So even a wild shot in the dark, you could wind up calling the wrong person. If you have these powers or abilities, my advice, money shouldn't be a factor. Someone, anyone that needs help shouldn't have to pay guidance for peace of mind. The knowledge that I'm able to help people, the reassurance, that's the reward enough. That helps me in coping with that fear. On the off chance that if what I'm doing can be seen as heresy, at least I will have done it with the best of intentions. I'm Bruce Fitch. Have a good day. And just be careful.